ITE. So we've tried out to enhance the NT program in several schools. It's worked well, and we will learn the lessons from this, and we will apply them across the board in NT's courses in Singapore. So that when you go to the NT, normal tech, that's also a good option for you because we will prepare you well to go to ITE. There'll be more practice-oriented, industrial attachments, and so on. We started 2 special schools for the kids who failed PSLE, couldn't get into NT. Northlight and Assumption Pathway caters to a small number of students, and they have a special mission and a very practical approach. Northlight has a guiding principle. I visited them. These are students who failed PSLE. The schools find it very hard to accommodate them. They have lost confidence in themselves. But Northlight's principle is, every student is a star who can shine as brightly as any others. And so the facilities and the curriculum are geared to help the students do well, like this program where they're being taught culinary skills in the kitchen. And the students gain confidence, they enjoy going to school, they respond. And one of them said, and I quote, "I'm not Superman, but I will be more than a bird or even a plane." It's not bad. And the key success factor getting him to that point is to have the teachers with the passion and the training who will build their self-esteem, their resilience, and their social skills, emotional skills, and get them to want to improve themselves. So learning from Northlight and Assumption Pathway, we will set up 2 more specialized schools for normal tech students. So we have a broad range of options for a broad range of kids. Beyond secondary, post-secondary school, there are many routes, ITE, poly, university, and we must make sure that all the students graduate whichever way they go, relevant skills and finding good jobs. The polys are a very important institution. They're doing well, they're getting more students than before, and high-quality students, and they're doing courses which lead to exciting careers, like courses in pharmaceuticals, like these students from Nanyang Poly. So we will enhance this, expand the existing 5 polys, upgrade the older ones, spend $700 million improving poly education. We will introduce a through train for the polys as well. Just as you have through train to go to A levels, so too for the polys, the good students in the normal academic stream, instead of going normal academic, O levels, and then poly, should go normal academic, go to poly. The poly will give them an extra foundation year, direct admission, and then carry on with a poly course, instead of O levels. I think it's a better use of their time. And I think it is something which a normal academic students should strive for. Do well, get into a good poly, do a good course at the poly, and after that, you can go even further. After the poly, we have the Singapore Institute of Technology, started this year, offering 500 places, offering opportunities for the poly students to get degrees from good overseas universities, getting credit for their work in the poly. So instead of a full 3 or 4 year program, takes 2 years or 2.5 years, and you get a degree, and a good degree. And we are building that up too. Similar to the polys are 2 other institutions in our system called NAFA and LaSalle. They are doing a good job educating students in arts, design, media, where there is strong demand for these skills. Not just to do National Day Parade or YOG, but also in the IRs, in the entertainment industry, digital media industry, in creative advertising, corp comms. Many demands, and I think many of our kids have talents to do this. So we will support young Singaporeans with such talents to advance through NAFA and LaSalle and go on to get a degree from good overseas institutions. Some universities, some equivalent, but the government will support this undergraduate program for LaSalle and NAFA students. NAFA is Nanyang Academy of Fine Arts. Then the universities. They are very good, but they have a very difficult job, because they take students from such a broad range. 25–30% of our students go to university, whereas if you look at Harvard or Beijing University or Stanford, you're talking about a tiny level at the top, 0.5%. And we have to look after good students across this broad range. So the university has to be varied in order to look after all these different students and different aptitudes. And we should offer for our top students opportunities within our system in Singapore to do well, so that more of our top students will study here and then perhaps do their postgraduate overseas. NUS and NTU and SMU have been doing this, and they have new plans. For example, we have a university town in NUS, which is being built now, which is meant to be a residential program, something like Oxford and Cambridge, but maybe adapted, so students will be able to spend 2 years residential and then be able to have content which will fit them and adapt and enable them to learn and think and interact better. It's coming up across the road from where we are now. If we show the next slide, you will see this is what it looks like now, but soon it will look like this. This is Clementi Road, AYE is here, and we are here, so this complex is behind us somewhere in that direction. Coming up. NTU also has plans. We are needing to train more doctors. We don't have enough. We put a lot of programs in. We need to train still more. So we are going to start a new medical school in NTU, which will be done together with Imperial College in London. We need them. Our population is aging. We have a bigger population. We need more doctors. And I think this new medical school will enable us to train more doctors, get more Singaporeans to become doctors, and also allow us to train more foreign students here to become good doctors living and working in Singapore. All this is going to cost a lot of money. The government will pay more, but the people who attend the courses also will have to pay somewhat more. But we will make sure that we keep it affordable, because we will have scholarships, we will have bursaries, we'll have loan schemes, and we make sure that anybody who can benefit from the education, he will get that education regardless of his family circumstances. One source of funding for the universities, which we should build up, is donations and endowments. So that if the universities have their own money, can raise their own money, then they can launch new initiatives which will benefit students and not depend all the time directly on government support. The existing universities have built up these endowments, and the government has helped them to do this, and we will do more of this. So over the next 20 years, the government will commit $4 billion, $4,000 million to the universities to help them build up these endowments. Create a Singapore Universities Trust. We'll put some money in the trust. And when people donate to the university, for the new ones, we will match 3-to-1. So please donate generously. For the existing programs, we will also match 1.5-to-1. So please also donate generously. And we will also encourage donations to the polys and the ITEs, because actually it's not just about the dollars. It's about getting the alumni to be engaged, to pay attention to their alma mater, to want to contribute and help, and to build up a good institution. And that applies to the universities, it applies to the polys, it applies to the ITEs. The universities are already doing this. I think graduating classes are donating. Poly students, many of them have done very well in life. ITE, I expect some will too. And I hope that they also will do the same. So this matching scheme of government grants will also apply to people donating to the polys and the ITEs. So please make the effort, because for your alma mater to prosper, the alumni group is what makes a difference. So these are all efforts which will ensure that our students get a good education wherever they go and do well in their lives. It's the most lasting gift which you can give to the next generation. But education has to imbue the next generation not just with knowledge, but also with the Singapore spirit. What is the Singapore spirit? It's a very relevant question in a globalized world as Singapore becomes more cosmopolitan and receives more guests and visitors every year. We are proud of our Asian cultures and heritage. The Chinese, the Indians, the Malays, and the others. And we want to keep this heritage alive and keep this Asian identity. But this Singapore spirit is not based on a common race or language or religion. It's based on deeper things which we share. Shared values, like multiracialism or meritocracy, or respect for every talent. Shared loyalty and commitment to Singapore. Shared responsibility for each other and pride in what we've done together. Shared memories as well as dreams and aspirations. It is the determination that makes us press on when things are tough, like in the recession last year. That the trust that keeps us together when forces try to pull us apart, like when we encountered extremist terrorism after 9/11. Is a competence and a quiet pride and discipline that makes sure that things go right, like when we hosted the YOG. It's a confidence that we will prevail come what may. It's the spirit in each of us which makes Singapore work the way it does and which makes Singaporeans special. Mr. Rajaratnam long ago drafted the National Pledge, and he wrote, being a Singaporean is not a matter of ancestry. It's conviction and choice. We've got to maintain a Singaporean core in our society, which is stiffened by the Singapore spirit. And around this core, we can gather talent and resources and use them to build a better Singapore. As the IT people say, we want to keep an open architecture. The kernel must be protected. Make sure no viruses come in and make it malfunction. But the applications, the peripheral software, can be adapted, extended as circumstances change, as new needs arise, so that we are always current and up to date and always with the latest version. And we have to pass this spirit on to the next generation so that they have the same conviction and make the right choices for themselves through the schools, but also many other activities. Through community involvement, for example, pursuing passionate causes, tackling daunting challenges, and trying out many new things to learn about themselves, to discover their own abilities, and to gain confidence and maturity. We do our best to give our youth such exposure. We encourage them to care for the less fortunate and develop a social conscience, like these students are doing. These are young NTUC visiting a senior's home, obviously making a connection with the senior citizens. Or protecting the environment. These kids are at Tanjung Chek Jawa doing some work, rescuing some horseshoe crabs. You see a few horseshoe crabs down here in good health. They saw us looking at them. And